So this is Mahamrityunjay mantra. So you see again the intonations. So it's a Vedic mantra found in the Rudram portion, Yajurveda. So that's how one has to chant it in this proper intonation. So you can listen once, repeat twice. Om Tyambakam Yajamahe. Ear has to go up. Tyambakam Yajamahe. Twice. Not Trayambakam. Tryambakam. Half tra is there, not full tra. Om Tyambakam Yajamahe. Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam. Om Tyambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam. So Yajamahe, there is no intonation. Don't say Yajamahe. No. Yajamahe, flat it is. Not Yajamahe. Some of you are chanting by habit. Om Tyambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam. Urvarukamiv bandhanam. Urvarukamiv bandhanam. Mrityormukshiya. Mamritaat. Mrityormukshiya mamritaat. So another mistake that people do is they will say Mrityor Mokshiya. It is not Mokshiya. It is Mukshiya. Mrityor Mokshiya Mamritaat. Urvarukamiv bandhanan Mrityormukshiya mamritaat. Om Tyambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam. Urvarukamiv bandhanan Mrityormukshiya mamritaat. Together, full. Om त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ॐ त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् So Trambakam Yajamahe also can be said. Instead of Trambakam Yajamahe, you can make it Om Trambakam Yajamahe. That is also possible. The next one. So now what is important in this also is the Alpapran, Mahapran must be pronounced well in any chanting actually. So where we say no, Sugandhim, Pushtivardhanam, dha has to come properly. Many people chant Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam. Pushtivardhanam, Sugandhim. Urvarukmaya Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamratat. Dha has to come properly. Air has to go out like that. Same way in the next mantra also, Gayatri mantra. So Gayatri mantra is found in different Vedas. Again, it's a Vedic mantra, so proper intonations. The actual mantra is Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. From there, Bhu Bhuva Swaha is the other Vyahritis, special syllables. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Not Bhur Bhuva. Bhur Bhuva. Va goes down, not Bhu. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Again, many people Bhu is going down. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo na prachodayat. Dhiyo yo na prachodayat. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo na prachodayat. Together. Om Bhurbhuvah Svah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvah Svah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. So meaning of both these mantras is simple. Trambakam Yajamahe. I meditate on the three-eyed Lord. Sugandhim, who is most fragrant, because of whom this body is alive. Pushtivardhanam, who nurtures, nourishes us. Urvarukamiva bandhanat, like the cucumber falls off the creeper effortlessly. In that way, mrityoho, from death, meaning from the fear of death, Mukshiya, please liberate me, O Lord Shiva. Ma amritat, may I never neglect immortality. Gayatri mantra is that sun, Tat Savituhu, who illumines the three worlds, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, earth, interspace, and the heavens. Bhargo Devasya, who is the effulgence of the devatas, of our senses, etc. I meditate on the effulgence of that sun, who illumines the three worlds as well as my senses. Why? Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. May all our intellects be illumined to recognize the power of that self, to recognize my true nature is Brahman. So these are two very important mantras. Now next week we are going to celebrate Ganesh Chaturthi, and the 10 days of festival will be there. So we will chant some Ganapati Stotram. We will learn today one. So page number 12. Some shlokas. These are general assorted shlokas of Ganpati Bhagavan. Page 12. Agajanana Padmarkam Gajananam Aharnisham Anekadantam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe. Together. Agajanana Padmarkam Gajananam Aharnisham Anekadantam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe. Shuklambaradharam Vishnu Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Together. Shuklambaradharam Vishnu Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Together. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. The next one. Gajananam Bhuta Ganadhisevitam. Not Ganadi, Ganadhi. Gajananam Bhuta Ganadhisevitam Kapitha Jambu Phalasara Bhakshakam उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारणम् नमामि विघ्नेश्वर पादपङ्कजम्। Together. गजाननं भूतगणाधिसेवितं कपित्थजम्बूफलसारभक्षकम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारणं नमामि विघ्नेश्वर पादपङ्कजम्। Okay, we will learn one more and then next week we will learn two more. So then Ganpati Bhagwan's all stotrams are done. So this next one is a very nice one. It is Ganesha Pancharatnam. 5 beautiful verses on Ganesh Ji. Very nice tune it has. Mudakarat modakam sada vimukti sadhakam Kaladharavatam sakam vilasilokarakshakam Kanayakaikanayakam Vinashute bhadaityakam Natashubhashunashakam Namami tam vinayakam Matetarati bhikaram Navoditarkabhaswaram Namatsurari nirjaram Natadhikapadudharam Sureshwaram Nidhishwaram Gajeshwaram Ganeshwaram Maheshwaram Tamashraye Paratparam Nirantaram Samastaloka Shankaram Nirastadaitya Kunjaram Daretaro-darambaram Vare bhavakramaksharam Kripakaram kshamaakaram Mudakaram yashaskaram Manaskaram namaskritam Namaskaromi bhaswaram Akinchanarti marjanam Chirantanokti bhajanam Purari purvanandanam Surari garvacharvanam Prapanchanashabhishanam Dhananjayadibhushanam Kapoladhanavaranam Bhaje Puranavaranam Utantakanta Dantakanti Mantakantakatmajam Achintya Rupamantahina Mantaraya Kuntanam Hridantaro Nirantaram Vasantameva yoginam Tamekadantameva tam Vichintavami santatam Mahaganesha Pancharatnam Adarena Yolvaham प्रजल्पति प्रभातके हृदि स्मरन् गणेश्वरम् अरोगतामदोषताम् सुसाहितीं सुपुत्रताम् समाहितायुरष्टभूतिम् अभ्युपैति सोचिरात्. So the last verse is the Falashruti. The 5 verses are on Ganeshji. So these 2 you can chant through the whole week, and next Friday we will learn 2 more. You can chant the other 2 also. If you know, continue. Nice they are. So we were doing Panchakosha Vivek. In chapter 15 we did the negation. So the question, Ko asau anatma paramaka atma tayor viveka katham etaducchatam. How to separate atma and anatma? That was the question that is being answered. So we saw what is Annamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha and Manomaya Kosha. And how Atma is not these 3. Atma is Nirguna, Nirvikara, Nirvikalpa, Niranjana. That is the nature of Atma. But identified with the koshas, then we have superimposed the qualities of the kosha on the Atma. So this negation is a process of intellectual conviction, and then nididhyasana, we have to remove the false identification. So we saw 3 koshas got negated. Today we will do the balance 2. So Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha. So what is this Vijnanamaya Kosha? This Vijnanamaya Kosha, as we all know, that is the kosha which is most unique in the human being. And the Vijnanamaya Kosha has 3 components. One is the Buddhi, which is intellect. And what type of Buddhi we have as human beings? Sukshma Buddhi we have. Animals have Buddhi, but they don't have Sukshma Buddhi. They have Sthula Buddhi. They can discriminate what to eat, what not to eat, who is the enemy, who is the friend, all that. And that also is done instinctively, not by conscious awareness. Human being can do it consciously. So Buddhi is one. Second is Ahankara. This thought of doership and enjoyership. I am Mr. So-and-so. This self-awareness we have. And based on that self-awareness, then we identify with the BMI, feel the Jiva Bhav, and then we feel I am the Karta, I am the Bhokta. So that is Ahankar. And then of course Jnana Indriya, 5 senses of knowledge. These 5 senses of knowledge were common. There is in one more kosha it comes. Which one? Manomaya kosha. So these 5 senses of knowledge identified with that. Now one feels, I am seeing, I am hearing, I am tasting, I am touching, I am smelling, and one gains the knowledge. So now this is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. What are some specific features of this Vijnanamaya Kosha? First and foremost is it is the locus of Chidabhas. What is Chidabhas? So we all know that the intellect is made up of 5 elements. And 5 elements are inert or sentient. By themselves, these 5 elements are inert. Then how do these 5 elements get this sentiency? That is because of this consciousness. So the example given is the bucket of water. In that bucket of water, there is the reflection of the sun. So this reflection of the sun will be there on the top layer of the water. So this Vijnanamaya Kosha is like the water. In that Vijnanamaya Kosha, the top layer is like the Ahankar, the ego. In that the reflection of the sun, which is the self, sun is the self, that falls. Then we see the reflection. That reflection is called Chidabhas. That water by itself has no light. Sun by itself doesn't have reflection. This water reflecting that sun, that light, reflected light that is there, that is called Chidabhas. So in us, Ahankar by itself cannot do anything. It doesn't exist because Atma Chaitanya is not enlivening it. But when that Atma reflects in that Ahankar, then this Chidabhas, Mr. So and so, I am the Karta, I am the Bhokta, that bhav comes because of consciousness. By itself, there is, if the buddhi is jada, it cannot do anything. Ahankar also is jada only. Hence, they have given an equation here. What is the equation? Jiva is equal to Chidabhas plus Ahankar. The reflected consciousness is Chidabhas. You should remember, Chidabhas is not equal to Chit. Many people equate Chidabhas equal to Chit. Chit is the sun up there. Chidabhas is the reflection down here. So in the heart, I mean in our intellect, when this Atma Chaitanya reflects, the notion that I have that I am Mr. So and so, that is Chidabhas, which is ego illumined by consciousness. So we have given that together Jiva plus Chidabhas, Ahankar plus Chidabhas is equal to the Jiva. So now when we understand that part, that from where did this Chidabhas come? That came because of the Buddhi, Vijnanamaya Kosha, because it is subtle to reflect that. Suppose now I ask you, this mic, where is the reflection of this mic? Can you see the reflection anywhere? Where? Not shadow. Reflection. If I bring a mirror here, what will happen? Is the mirror creating reflection? Then where is the reflection? No, light is creating, no doubt, the light bouncing off the object creates the reflection, that I understand. But the point is the mirror creating the reflection? Then why I am seeing only in the mirror? That is the point. Reflection is everywhere. Because light is there, no, reflection is everywhere. But the surface in mirror is conducive to reflect it. This book is not conducive. So if you put the book here and mirror here, book will not do the reflection, mirror, but reflection is everywhere. If you put a mirror here, what will happen? It will reflect. So our buddhi is like that. Buddhi is that special equipment which has the capability to reflect the Atma Chaitanya. And the Jiva knows that. That's the beauty of it. The individual is capable of knowing that I am this because of that buddhi only, consciously. So subtle body, when we say, subtle body has what all elements? 5 senses of knowledge, 5 senses of action, 5 pranas, mind, intellect, memory and ego. In that, this buddhi is the special aspect of the subtle body which has the capability to reflect the Atma Chaitanya. Like the mirror has a special, capability, like that. So when this buddhi is reflecting that Atma Chaitanya, that entity is called Chidabhas. Why it is called Chid? Abhas. Like the sun is different from the reflection, in the same way this Chaitanya Swarup Atma is different from Chid Abhas. Because it is conditioned, like that sun, when it is reflecting in the bucket of water, that reflection will be conditioned or not? By what? By the size of the bucket plus the quality of water. So the sun is unlimited, is big, but the reflection will be small. So obviously sun and the reflection can't be one. Same way Chidabhas and Chaitanya are not one. Chaitanya Swarup Atma reflecting in the Buddhi, specifically in that Ahankar layer, top layer, then we call that as Chidabhas. That entity is what one feels that I am so and so, I am this Jiva. So that unlimited sun, unlimited Chaitanya Swarup Atma appears as a limited Jiva, Chidabhas. So this Chidabhas, so we say Vijnanamaya Kosha is the locus of this Chidabhas. This is the technical terminology in Vedanta. But we should know this because when we move ahead, this, as we study Upanishads, etc., this will come many times. That time one should not confuse that Chidabhas is equal to Chaitanya Swarupatma. Many people think like that. Chidabhas is not Chaitanya Atma. Atma reflecting in the Buddhi, there is a reflected consciousness. To realize the Atma, I have to go beyond reflected consciousness. That will come ahead in this. This portion is clear. Chidabhas is not equal to Chaitanya. Now, second point is, now when this Ahankar becomes enlivened by the Chaitanya Swarupatma, there is a conscious feeling of Karta and Bhokta, both. Yes, Kartritva and Bhoktritva arise because of this Chidabhas. Reflection of consciousness in the Buddhi and Ahankar. Then the feeling that I am Mr. So-and-so comes. In the deep sleep, is it there? Not there, because Buddhi only is dormant. So no Karta, no Bhokta. And this Karta and Bhokta is, Karta is further identifying with the three other layers. So identified with the Manomaya Kosha, the Karta feels that I am happy, I am sad, I am angry, I am lovable, all that. Identified with Prana, what does it feel? I am sick? No. Hunger, thirst, cold, those things. And identify with Annamaya Kosha. I am tall, I am dark, I am young, I am handsome. And then I am doing. So Karta is, I am the Karta. No? So I am doing things through the three layers. So when those examples you have given, you see, so I am seeing, I am walking. So through the body it is like that. I am seeing, I am walking, I am talking. All those. Karta. Action is being done. So when this action is being done, actually it is the equipment doing the action. Atma is enlivening. But we have mixed up. Because Atma enlivens the Buddhi and that further identifies with the body, mind, with the Manomaya, Pranamaya, Annamaya. So we feel I am Karta, I am walking, I am talking, I am feeling happy, I am feeling hungry, I am feeling thirsty. All those qualities of the three koshas get superimposed on Atma. And because I am the Karta, then what happens after that? Why am I doing the Karta? Why am I doing the Karma? Because I want to enjoy. Bhoktritva is the basis of Kartritva. If I don't have to enjoy, will I do? No. People will do that only when they understand that I have to purify my mind, then they will do. But generally, action is done, karma is done for bhoga. Kurute karma bhogaya. Why do I do karma? Because I want to enjoy. So the bhoktritva also arises. What is the bhoktritva? The result of the action, which I want to enjoy. And according to my karma, I will enjoy or I will suffer. So some examples given here are what? If I eat good food, then I enjoy good health. If I don't eat proper food, then fall sick. If one has sugar problem, and doctor said don't eat sweet, and then one goes to Naturals Now and eats one Puran Poli ice cream with, what is that? Filter coffee flavored ice cream with almond flakes. Almond flakes. Because yesterday I went there. That's what I'm saying. What all people bring out, ice cream, पूरन पोली flavor ice cream देखो. गरम गरम पूरन पोली तो हमने खाया. Then we were children, we used to put it in the fridge and next day morning eat thanda puran poli. So nice it will be. Now they brought it as ice cream. So when one is enjoying that, one feels, so nice. But the body says you should not have eaten. Sugar problem. So kartritva, bhoktritva one will get. The result will come. If good things one does, good result. Bad thing one does, bad result. Both will come. And one wants to enjoy. Now what happens? This kartritva and bhoktritva, because I am having that, will all my karma give result in the same life? It will not give result in same life. So many karmas I will do as a karta, but the karma phala has not come, so I am not the bhokta yet. Can I escape the karma phala? If I drop the body, I didn't get karma phala, bach gaya. Is it possible? People think it is possible. That is why they live how they live. But karma siddhant says nobody can escape. The jiva. Correct. The jiva is the karta, no? That one has to understand clearly. That kartrit, that's why this technical aspect, that jiva is Atma Chaitanya reflecting in the buddhi, and that jiva carries forward from one body to another. Buddhi is not at all the culprit. Buddhi not doing vivek, using the buddhi, that is the culprit. Avichara krito bandha vicharena nivartate. Buddhi is not the culprit, because same buddhi is helping me to find liberation, no? Same buddhi is now we are doing discrimination to identify, this is Atma, this is the inert five elements, I am not this, unnecessarily mixed up these two. How I am using the buddhi, that is the culprit. When I am not using the buddhi for discrimination, then that is the culprit. Don't worry, it will become quiet in some time. So the buddhi, for so many lives one has not used the buddhi properly. In human life I'm talking. So many human lives have not used the subtle sukshma buddhi at all. See, physically itself, if you see, no, it's very simple and clear. When we get a fracture, suppose we get fracture, now hand fractured, now hand is put in a cast, 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, what will happen? When that cast is removed, can I start using the hand? It has been one put like this now, I have to do what? Physiotherapy. They will tell us do like this, all that. Exercise has to be done because muscle atrophy happens. One cannot use because it's not been used. Same way our buddhi atrophy has happened life after life. We have not used the buddhi only, sukshma buddhi. So first when we come to the satsang, slowly the knowledge is given. Then one has to start doing little exercises. Sit for little time and do japa, sadhana, and then do karma yoga, all that. Then
there is a process of sadhana is that. So buddhi by itself is not the culprit, but this buddhi when I
not using the discrimination, then I have mixed up. Now to experience the karma phala, I will take new bodies. That is called samsara. Karta is the bhokta. So now to experience the karma phala, now one has to take a body. And in every body that I take, what I do? Add more karma. So this buddhi which can be used to exhaust karma also is the cause of adding more karma. Why? Because as long as the jiva bhav, aham is there, with ego and egocentric desires, whatever karma I do, it will produce vasana. You remember that Anartha Parampara? In some chapter it was there, no? Swamiji, we are doing many courses. We don't know in which one it is. Somewhere we learned Anartha Parampara, something is there. Vasana, so there we saw desire, karma, and that karma phala. But that whole big cycle that we have seen, no? Vasana leads to desire, leads to thought, leads to action, leads to result, and this further leads to vasana. That whole thing continues. So Vijnanamaya Kosha becomes the cause of samsara. Remember again, which Vijnanamaya Kosha? That Vijnanamaya Kosha where we are not using discrimination and where we are acting out of ego and egocentric desire. That Vijnanamaya Kosha is the cause of bondage. And it is this Vijnanamaya Kosha only which makes us also aware that there is one Atma which is going through three states. So this Chaitanya Swarup Atma reflecting in the Buddhi, when further identifies with the body, it goes through the waking state. And that Atma is called what? Consciousness going through identified with the BMI in the waking state is called Vishwa. Who is called Vishwa? Waker is called Vishwa, but who is that Vishwa? The body is Vishwa, intellect is Vishwa. Who is Vishwa? Jiva is Vishwa or Atma is Vishwa? Who is Vishwa? Jiva or Atma? Atma. अब कंफ्यूजन हो गया. That's why I asked you, Chidabhas and Chaitanya, are you clear? Who is Vishwa? Jiva is Vishwa. Jiva is Vishwa. Because Atma identified with the BMI is appearing as the limited Mr. So-and-so of the waking state. That entity, Mr. So-and-so, is the Jiva. That is the generic name of the Jiva, which is Vishwa. But we should not forget that Jiva is nothing but consciousness. That we should never forget. Jiva and consciousness are not two different things. Like that's a reflection example. No? Chidabhas is that reflection is limited by the bucket. But is that reflection independent of the sun? No. Sun reflecting in the bucket becomes the reflection. Same way, Atma identifying with the Buddhi, further identifying with the body becomes Vishwa. So Atma directly is not Vishwa. Atma reflecting the Buddhi, Chidabhas, that becomes the Jiva, that is the Vishwa. So in that sense, one has to be clear. So this Jiva in the waking state is Vishwa. Then in the dream state is Tejas. And deep sleep state is Prajna. Now remember, Vijnanamaya Kosha is not there in the deep sleep state. And in the dream state also, this Vijnanamaya Kosha is clouded. Buddhi is clouded. But what it is said here, experiences the three states of awareness is this Chidabhas goes through. The Jiva goes through all this. That Jiva is waker, dreamer, deep sleeper. And all the three are recognized in the Vijnanamaya Kosha. When we wake up, then we realize our dream state and our deep sleep state, we recognize all that. Where is it recognized? Vijnanamaya Kosha. So this Vijnanamaya Kosha is that entity through which we recognize the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper, and all the three are different from each other. Then how is it that we remember our dream and the deep sleep experience? Because one Atma is prevailing in all the three. So that is this. And then the last point about Vijnanamaya Kosha is that there is a mutual superimposition of the self and the Vijnanamaya Kosha. This is page number 5. The simple example of the fire and the iron ball. The fire by itself is formless and bright and hot. Iron ball by itself is round, dark, and cold. Now both these, when they come together, there is a mutual superimposition. That iron ball looks that it has become hot, bright, and this fire as though looks as though it has got a shape. But has the fire become round? Has the iron ball become bright? It is only superimposition, adhyasa. So the technical word for that here given is anyonya adhyasa or itaretara adhyasa. Anyonya adhyasa means on each other they superimpose their qualities. So fire superimposes its own quality on iron ball. Ball superimposes the quality on fire. Now if we want to remove, then what has to be done? Take that fireball out of the fire, keep it separately. Then what will happen? That fire will become automatically formless, ball will automatically become cold. There the example is simple, you have to just remove it. Here we have to discriminate constantly, because what have we done here? We have mixed up these two so that the experiences, I am doing this, I am doing that, that bhav one gets. So the self, which is unlimited, appears to have become limited. The self is akarta, abhokta, but identified with the buddhi, the self becomes karta and bhokta. And the buddhi by itself is jada, but that buddhi appears to be able to do things on its own, sentient. So this is called anyonya adhyasa. And now, once this anyonya adhyasa is there, then this karta, bhokta, samsar, birth, death, sorrow, this whole thing starts. So now what has to be done here? This has to be negated. So the next part here tells us what exactly is the problem. The problem is this. You see the first line here in this page 6, what is it? What it says? The limited individual or jiva, that is the chidabhas and ahankara complex, pervades as the self. And then further identifies with all this annamaya, kosha, pranamaya, manomaya, anandamaya, all these. And all these other notions they will start. I am sad, I am sentimental, I am dull, I am hungry, I am getting old, all this. Now what is important here is, there is really speaking no problem per se for the Paramatman, as the problem of identification with the koshas and the resultant suffering lies merely at the level of individual ego. However, when the intellect makes the blunder of mistaking the individual jiva to be the supreme self, kartritva, bhoktritva and the characteristics of all various koshas which exist in the sphere of the Vijnanamaya kosha are now transferred all in one go onto the realm of the Supreme Self, and it appears to be bound. This is the problem. That when aham, the true I, is which is free, which is limited, unbound, on that we superimpose all these qualities. This is what Vijnanamaya kosha is doing. All which we saw, no, karta, bhokta, hungry, tall, dark, thin. So this I, which is unlimited, now becomes limited. That I which is free, Chaitanya Swarup Atma, now has become Jiva, Karta, Bhokta. And the important aspect there is the real I is forgotten. The small I becomes everything. The real I is forgotten. And that is why the first question was that, Ko asai anatma, what is anatma and what is the Supreme Atma? There are two. Till we came to Vedanta, did we know there are two? We don't know there are two. Because the small I has become everything. That is the problem. Koshas by themselves are not a problem. Because kosha exists even for the realized person. Till the body is there, the kosha is existing. So pancha kosha, annamaya, pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya, anandamaya. Koshas by themselves are not a problem at all. False identification and feeling that I am this and forgetting who I am, that is a cause of problem. So this is what the Vijnanamaya kosha is doing. In the last para, they have given it more clearly, you see. If we are to point the actual cause of the Supreme Self's bondage, it is this, the intellect imagining the limited individual to be Supreme Self. That one line, that's it. The intellect is imagining the limited individual to be the Supreme Self and forgot the Supreme Self, which Gurudev used to call as non-apprehension leads to misapprehension. So on one hand, I've forgotten who I am. On the other hand, I'm identifying with the koshas. Now that is a problem. So now how to get out of this? Buddhi only has mixed up. So Buddhi only has to separate it. So this negation of Vijnanamaya Kosha, you see, is again a nice verse from Vivek Chudamani. Ato nayam paratma syad Vijnanamaya shabda bhak Vikaritvat jadatvat cha Parichinnatva hetutaha Drishyatvad vyabhicharitvat Nanityo nityayishyate. So, ato na ayam paratma syad. Hence, this Vijnanamaya Kosha cannot be the Paramatma. Vijnanamaya Shabda Bhak, what is known as Vijnanamaya Kosha, cannot be the Paramatma. Why? First point, Vikaritvat. Because the Vijnanamaya Kosha goes through changes. Different thoughts, ideas, ideologies, they keep changing. Before we believe in some ideology, let us say we believe God does not exist. Then we come to Vedanta, then we study. Then our ideology changes. God exists. In fact, God alone exists, nothing else exists. So now my ideology changed. Earlier I thought anger is a source of power. Now I think no, anger is a source of pain. We should not be entertained. So now ideology changed. And its ideology changes according to the guna also. If sattva guna is there, the buddhi is having peaceful, discriminative thoughts. If rajo guna is there, agitated thoughts. Tamo guna is there, indulgent, procrastinating. So, vikaritvat. And what is the atma? What we have seen earlier, nirvikaro, nirakaro. It doesn't change at all. How do we know that? Because in the presence of that changeless only we can recognize the change. That simple principle it is. So vikaritvat. Vijnanamaya Kosha is vikari, atma is avikari. What does this mean? In contemplation, anything that is changing, I have to drop my attention from that. So thoughts keep changing. I don't have to fight thoughts at all. They will go by themselves. Vikaritva. Neither indulge in the thought nor resist in the thought. Just let it go. Vikaritvat. It will change. Then jadatvat. That we already know. It is made up of 5 elements which are jada. By themselves the buddhi is only subtler matter. That's all. Though it has the special capability of reflecting the Atma, it is still Jada only. So now it is Atma which enlivens it. Then it becomes sentient. So the example given here is, how can the Vijnanamaya Kosha which subsists on borrowed sentiency ever be the self which is consciousness itself? Can the borrower and lender be one and the same? You may say in case of money it can be the same. Here is not about money. It is borrowing the sentiency from consciousness. By itself it exists only because of that. So it is not that self. Then it is limited, parichinnatvat. Why it is limited? Because every thought is a boundary, it's a limited thought. What is the definition of a thought? Mind definition we know. Mind is a flow of thought. What is a thought? Is there an equation for thought? No, it's not imagination. Thought exists, no? Highest state we can say it's an illusion, that's a different matter. But what is a thought? Desire, experience. No. I'm saying, suppose we say mud pot. What is the mud pot made of? Mud. No? Mud is the content of that pot. What is the content of a thought? Emotion, experience, vasana. No. Each of them are different. Vasana is that which leads to desire. Desires lead to thought. So my question is, what is a thought? Experience also is experienced by the thought. Memory. So these are synonyms, Memory, experience, emotion. These are all different things which are experienced by us through thought. But what exactly is a thought? So Guru used to give the definition. You see how clear he was, and so simple he made it. Thought is equal to object plus consciousness. Simple definition. Suppose I say apple. In your mind, what comes? Thought of apple comes. How? What is the meaning of thought of apple came? The object apple, illumined by my awareness, that I am able to recognize apple. That is called a thought. Apple thought means apple illumined by consciousness. That is called apple thought. So every thought has a boundary. Boundary of what? Of the object that consciousness is illumining in the thought. That object can be anything. I am angry. So that anger is an emotion. Emotion is the object which the consciousness is illumining. I want to eat that Puran Poli ice cream. So it's a desire. Now the object of that illumination is that Puran Poli ice cream. So whether it's an emotion, whether it's a physical object, whether it is a desire, it is all recognized by us through thought, and each of those thoughts are nothing but Atma illumining that object. Hence Gurudev said thought is equal to object plus consciousness. Now see, the equation is very good. So thought is equal to object plus consciousness. So consciousness is equal to thought minus object. Simple. If you remove all the objects from the thought, what remains? Consciousness. Mathematically, you are Brahman. Over. Thought is equal to object plus consciousness. Consciousness is equal to object, thought minus object. Hence, you are consciousness. Finished. That's all meditation. You have to do that. Drop all object. Whole process of meditation is what? Drop all the objects in the mind and know that you are the Chaitanya Swarup Atma. Then you'll realize the truth. Vedanta in 2 lines. Over. Yeah. Because all the beings also are recognized by me as object only. No? I am seeing you here, but right now my eyes are seeing there, but the recognition is happening inside here only. So the form is illumined by the mind. So it will come as object only. Hence every thought is nothing but object illumined by consciousness. Today our focus is on the object, we have forgotten consciousness. Only the attention shift has to happen from object to consciousness, and to know that that consciousness is me. So anyway, that we will come to. So now, because the thought, every thought has a boundary, however subtle that thought is, including the thought of blank. In deep sleep, there is no physical object. There is no emotional memory. But what is the object of that thought? Is blank. Which is why blank is not a state, blank is a thought only, which is only Atma illumining the absence of everything. Just like Atma is illumining the presence of an object, Atma is illumining the absence. Atma is different from both. Like this light. Right now we all are here, so it is illumining all of us. When we go, it will illumine the absence. Is the light same? Is the light equal to presence and absence? No, light is different. That's what it is. That which illumines the presence as well as the absence is the Atma. And hence the absolute cannot be a blank state. It is a state of Chaitanya Swarup Atma. So thought is limited. Atma is unlimited. Objects of thought come and go. They cancel each other or not. When I say apple, the object in the mind is apple. Then now if I say mango, now apple gone and what has come? Mango. So each object limits each other. But Atma in both of them is, Atma which enlivens both these thoughts is the same, is unlimited. Hence, Vijnanamaya Kosha, if I recognize this, that this is an inert thought, you just think how much thought persecution we have in our life. The greatest persecution in human life is thought persecution. Our own thoughts persecute us or not. Because we have given so much power to them. That person is a bad person, is talking very bad about me. Now finished, my mind will be disturbed. Why? That one thought comes and I have given it so much power that we can disturb. Actually what it is just an inert thought. Nothing, it has no power at all. But we consider it very, very real. And we persecute ourselves. And what an impact it has, you see, on the body. The moment my mind gets disturbed, what will happen in the body? All the stress hormones will start releasing. Cortisol, all those things will, adrenaline, they'll all start releasing. And same way, when we think positive, pure thoughts and we meditate, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham, then what happens? All peaceful thoughts, no positive emotions. So then positive hormones are released. There also there are so many categories. Serotonin, dopamine, like that. Some 4 are there, I forgot. Oxytocin and one more. Endorphin, char. Each one comes at different time. So that is the impact. And what is the cause of all these? Inert thoughts. Vedantic student, when one sees all this, one understands that this is a play of Prakriti, Jadavastu affecting Jadavastu. I am Chaitanya Atma. Why am I getting attached to this? So then that person becomes detached. So if Atma is like detached, pure consciousness, this Vijnanamaya Kosha is limited. It is bound. Drishyatvat, what we just saw. Vijnanamaya Kosha is all these thoughts, they are seen. The ultimate seer is Atma. Atma never becomes the seen. So we watch, no? My mind is sharp, my mind is dull, my mind is subtle today, my mind is gross today, all that buddhi, sorry. So then that is the state. Who is a sakshi of all these? Atma. And the last one is Vyabhicharitvat. What is the meaning of Vyabhicharitvat? It is not present at all times. Atma is present at all times. But in the waking state, only the Vijnanamaya Kosha functions consciously. In the dream state, it is clouded. And in the deep sleep state, it is not there at all. But I am there in all the states. So that means I am different from this. Who knows the changes in this Drishyatvat, Vyabhicharitvat. So now all this one has to apply in the contemplation. So each word we may not apply, each concept we may not apply, but the conviction has to be that I am not the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Meaning I am not any of the modifications of Vijnanamaya Kosha. So if in meditation a thought comes, today my meditation is not going well, too much wandering of the mind. Who am I? I am the Sakshi. Who is watching? Mind is wandering, buddhi is wandering, let it do. Let it do doesn't mean encourage it to wander. Detach from that, that's all. This is to give us clarity. If I want to use any of this in that contemplation to stand apart, that I can use. That nature of Atma is Asanga Drashta. Atma is not Parichinna, thought is limited. Atma is not Jada, thought is Jada. How can this Jada affect Chaitanya? Chaitanya uses the jada, but today it is ulta. Like this, no, better than this is a phone example. Chaitanya Swarup Atma is me, Mr. So and so. Phone is jada vastu. But today the jada vastu is controlling Chaitanya. I have to separate. PV Sindhu did not use the phone for how many months to win that what is that? BWM World Championship. 3 months, no phone. Then she became world champion. Why? Because that control is there then. One is able to consistently focus on the practice. So Jada can never control the Chaitanya. Jada exists because of this Chaitanya Swarupatma. Jada is functioning because of Chaitanya Swarupatma. But unfortunately now, this false identification has happened. And now that is controlling this. So what do I have to do? Negation means I have to detach from these thoughts in the buddhi. But then how will we work in the world? Remember, it is a role and keep playing. But the reality is I am the Atma. My identity shift has to happen. So that is what it is. The solution is shifting of this identification from Mr. So and so to pure consciousness. Then I drop karta bhav, bhokta bhav, because karta, bhokta, all that is Mr. So and so. And all the bodies which are required also are by Mr. So and so. If I know myself as pure consciousness, there is no karta, no bhokta, no punarjanma also, no samsara, moksha, straight. So now how to negate, this is the next verse, is to negate who I am not. See this. Like that example given here, no, of that reflection, is if I want to know that I am that sun, I have to shift my attention from the bucket, from the water in the bucket, from the top layer which is ahankar, and from the reflection which is chidabhas. Bucket is the body, water is the vijnanamaya kosh, top layer is the ahankar, reflection in that is the chidabhas. Attention should go away from all this onto the sun, which is what one is doing in contemplation. I am not the body, mano, buddhi, hankara, chittani, naham. This whole Nirvana Shatkam is given in the end of this chapter. Negate. Now here in this verse 220 and 221 on page 9, this process of shifting the identification is given here. Deham dhriyam chit pratibimbam evam visrujya buddhau nihitam guhayam drashtaram akhanda bodham sarva prakasham sadasadvilakshanam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam antarbahishshunyam ananyamatmanaha vijñāya samyak nijarūpametat puman vipapma virajomi mrityuhu. So now he says, deham, body, which is like the bucket. Dhyam is the buddhi, which is the water. Chit pratibimbam, that is the reflection, that reflected sun, which is the chidabhas, ego. Visrujya, one has to negate all this. Then what happens? Buddhau nihitam guhayam. When I negate all this, meaning I withdraw into the cave of the intellect. Cave of the intellect meaning where I feel aham, 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 true I. Even today we are feeling right now I. But now, right now this I is identified with body, with the mind, with the intellect. So I am feeling I am Mr. So and so, son of so and so, and I am carrying one identity with me. From this finite identity, I have to shift to the source, which is the Atma. That I am not these Then who am I? Deep in my heart, what do I have to understand? Drashtaram. I am the witness of all these. I am not this. This is the Nididhyasana one has to do. That Drashtaram, I am the Sakshi. Then Drashtaram, Atmanam. And that, what is the nature of that Sakshi? It is true I, Aham, Atmanam. Akhanda Bodham. It is unbroken knowledge, illumining. Sarva Prakasham. It illumines everything. Good, bad, ugly, everything it illumines and never gets affected by anything. That unaffected illumining principle. Sad Asad Vilakshanam. Now, what is this Sad and Asad here? Presence and absence. It is beyond both. Sad Asad here is translated as gross and subtle. That is Sat and Asat. It can be, it has both the meanings, gross and subtle, meaning 5 gross elements and 5 subtle elements. It is beyond both. Or presence and absence. Presence of thought and absence of thought, what we just discussed. Both are illumined by Atma. That Atma, is that a small Atma? That my Atma inside me somewhere is one illuminator, which illumining. No, that Atma is all pervasive, you see, Nityam. It is eternal, within all pervasive. That is one Atma only. Sarvagatam, it is everywhere. Susukshmam, extremely subtle. Antarbahi Shunyam, it has no boundaries of inside and outside. This inside and outside is in relation to what? Body only. Only with relation to body it is inside and outside. If you actually think about it, do I experience the world inside or outside? World exists outside or inside? Entire world is only in the mind. There is nothing outside. No, somebody world is there outside. That is why we are experiencing inside. It is ulta. It is inside, so it is being projected. Anyway, that will come later. But the point is inside outside is based on this body identification. Otherwise, there is nothing inside, nothing outside. The best example for that is this pot. The pot is there, so that pot will limit the space. So the space inside the pot is called pot space. Outside the pot is called outside space. So Ghatakash and Mahakash. But the division of Ghatakash and Mahakash is based on what? Only the boundary of the pot. If you move the pot from here to here, are we taking Mahakash also? कि यहाँ से महाकाश उठा के यहाँ पे डालो? No. Or is this space becoming vacant? कि भाई यहाँ का pot space चला गया? No. Pot is inside the space or space is inside the pot? Pot is in space. Inside also is space. Outside is space. Pot itself is in space. Infinite is the space. Pot is only one boundary. Same way, body is one boundary. If you imagine ourselves as a pot, now this one pot, 100 pots are here, let us say. Each pot is looking as the one small entity is enclosing one small space. But actually that small space is all pervasive. Same way, Atma in me is this. So Antarbahi Shunyam, there is no gap, there is no division of inside outside. Vijnaya Samyak, having known this very clearly as what? Nija Rupam Etad, that's my true nature. Not that there is some Atma which is free from inside outside, which is free from gross and subtle. No, that is Aham, pure I. Samyak Nija Rupam Etad. Puman, that person, Vipapma. 3 beautiful words is the result. Vipapma means goes beyond pap. Vipapma. Virajo, it goes beyond all impurities. And Vimrityu goes beyond death. This Karta Bhokta goes through Papa, goes through Rajoguna, and goes through Janma and Mrityu. Atma doesn't go through any of the 3. See, our nature is already that But we are refusing to identify with that. How powerful is that Maya? That our nature is that which is free from rajas, free from mrityu, free from all this cycle of birth and death, everything. But the mind still doesn't want to accept only. That's the power of this Maya. But prayas has to be done again and again. Do the earlier sadhanas, purify the mind, again contemplate, remove the false identification. So the whole focus is not on gaining something. The whole focus is on shifting the attention, which is why it is a very subtle thing to be done. In contemplation, what I am trying to shift my attention from the object to consciousness. That's why nothing outside is required. And no amount of action outside. Can any amount of action help me to shift this? Shift the identity from Mr. So-and-so and from all the 5 koshas to Atma. Any amount of karma will not help to do that. Only withdrawal. So now this is called negation of Vijnanamaya kosha. In simple words, negation of Vijnanamaya kosha happens when I say I am the Sakshi, Asanga Drashta, who is infinite. That's one simple line. That's it. Both the verses mean that much only. The rest of it is an explanation of this, that I am the infinite consciousness who is a witness of whatever is going on. Now is the last kosha, Anandamaya kosha. So what is Anandamaya kosha? Anandamaya kosha consists of Anandamaya kosha is vasanas plus ignorance. Predominantly experienced in the deep sleep state, but in the waking state experienced as Priya, Moda and Pramoda. What is Priya? The thought of getting the object. When that thought brings joy, that is called Priya. When I actually get it, Moda. And when I am enjoying it, then the joy experience is Pramoda. All of these, so whether the Priya, Moda and Pramoda in the waking state or the absence of all agitation, so the negative bliss that we experience in the deep sleep state, both these are expressions of what? Not the bliss of the Anandamaya kosha. They are the Atma's bliss reflecting in Anandamaya kosha. Like how we have this Chidabhas, which is reflection of Atma in the Vijnanamaya kosha, then the feeling of Jiva Bhav comes. Same way, whatever joy we experience in the waking state, dream, deep sleep state is actually a reflection of Atma's bliss only. Only thing is it is experienced by us through the kosha. It is like taking the chocolate with the wrapper. Is the wrapper bringing the sweetness? If I actually want to enjoy the chocolate, what should I do? Remove the wrapper. But that's what one is doing is the ulta. One is eating the chocolate with the wrapper. Not only that, one is thinking the joy is coming from the wrapper. It's actually coming from Atma. Why it is coming from Atma? Because by itself Anandamaya kosha has no bliss. It's made up of 5 elements again. So Chit Swarup of Atma reflects in the Buddhi, Anand Swarup of Atma reflects in the Anandamaya kosha, Sat Swarup of Atma is reflecting in the body. It reflects in the thought and this thing also, but just in general to understand. Sat Chit Anand. So the Ananda Swarup of Atma is reflecting through the mind. When the mind is completely quiet, when the desires are fulfilled, then the bliss that we experience is of what? Of Atma only. The example given there is this water, no? The water when it is dirty and muddy, then the reflection is not clear. But when the same water becomes clean, the reflection becomes very clear. Did the water produce a reflection? No, it is the sun's reflection. Same way it is this, that all the joy that one experiences is actually coming from the Atma, but we are not recognizing that it is coming from Atma. We think it is coming from the object. That is the reason why we run behind the object. How strange is that? We should be actually running behind the Atma because that is the source of the bliss. But forgetting the source, I am running behind that which is not even the cause of that bliss, which actually is a misery, which limits the infinite bliss and makes that infinite bliss into finite. I am running behind that, leaving the infinite bliss. That is called delusion, moha. Negation will not bring conviction. Reflection will bring conviction. Negation will bring realization. When we negate who I am not, after having intellectually convinced myself, that we saw earlier, Shravan, Manan and Nididhyasan, that Manan will bring the conviction that I am not the Jiva, I am not this Anandamaya Kosha, that why am I running behind these objects? That conviction will help me to sit quietly in contemplation and withdraw my attention from all that which is the Anatma. That withdrawal will bring realization. So the negation means that withdrawing the attention and dropping all my false identification and asserting who I am. At the end of this chapter, we will see both these have to be done. Negation of what I am not and assertion of who I am. That will bring realization. Conviction comes only by proper reflection. Right now what we are doing is one form of reflection. That one has to do by oneself, get the intellectual conviction and clarity that I am not this BMI at all, I am not the Panchakosha, what am I running behind? No, Swamiji, but when we go out of the class, no, we become involved in so much work and this and that, so we forget. That is the whole thing, no? There only I have to be alert. How much? Suppose we say, so immediately 100% awareness won't come, obviously. But amidst all that, even if, let us say, every half an hour the thought comes, you are a Sakshi, you are not this. And now we have a phone, so put an alarm on the phone. Every half an hour it will remind you. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. You know, ringtone you can put like that. Half an hour it will remind again and again. Then I will remember during this work time. If I don't have conviction, the mind will say, how are you, Chidananda Rupa? You are this miserable jiva. There I have to apply logic. So, you know, this person went and told like this about me to that person. I am very unhappy. Then that phone rings. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Then you remind yourself, yeah, I am Chidananda. Why am I worried? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. No, but that person is thinking bad about me. You are not that. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. I am not joking. That is the abhyas that has to be done. No, but Swamiji, it is not coming out of feeling inside. So when will it come out of feeling? One day suddenly it will come. I have to keep practicing. Then it will come one day that yes, I am that or what, I am simply running behind this. So that conviction comes by reflection. At that time I have to think, how am I Chidananda Rupa Shivoham? Then use the logic, whatever the Shastra said, Drashta, Drishya, we saw the logics, no? That we have to use. So all this can be applied. All this looks theory, but none of this is theory. This is actually straight application in daily life. So Anandamaya Kosha, negation has to happen. Now how to do negation of that? See this, on page 11, 209. Naivayamanandamaya paratma sopadhikatvat prakritir vikarat karyatva heto sukrita kriyayaha vikara sanghata samahitatvat. Naiva ayam Anandamaya Paratma. The Supreme Atma is not even Anandamaya Kosha. Why? Sopadhikatvat. First of all, it is because of Upadhi that Anandamaya Kosha is conditioned. What we saw, no? Priya, Moda, Pramoda. They all depend on the joy depends on the perception, then the acquisition, then the enjoyment. It is not unalloyed, uncaused bliss. It is dependent. Sopadhikatvat. But the nature of Atma is independent bliss. Sopadhikatvat. Then Prakritir Vikarat. It is a modification. Whether it is in deep sleep where I don't know anything or in the waking state, of course it is a modification. Atma is again avikari. So this one point of changelessness will be there in all the five. Jada will be there in all the five. So one can negate just based on these two itself, that it is Jada, it is Vikari. Then it is said, Karyatva hetoho sukrita kriyayaha. It is experienced only because of good karmas. To the extent I have done good karmas, punya karma, to that extent only I will get happiness. If my karmas are bad, what will I get? Sorrow. So it is dependent on karma. Karyatva heto. And joy is experienced by good karma, so sukritasya. So it is by good karmas only we will get that. If somebody is suffering, it is because of their bad karma. If somebody is enjoying, it is because of their good karma. So it is dependent on karma, heavily dependent on karma. But Atma's bliss is not dependent on karma. Anandamaya kosha is dependent on karma. Sukritas, karyatva heto sukrita kriyayaha. And then vikara sanghata samahitatvat. And it is again associated with the modifications. Vikara sanghata. So the matter envelopments is the sanghata. So one very important thing to know. Sanghata means a compilation. And there is one sutra which says sanghatasya pararthatvat. Any compilation is not for its own sake. It is for others. What does that mean? We put together a house, cement and water and iron and all that. One house is put together. That is compiled, constructed. Is the house for the sake of the house or for the house owner? It's for the house owner. It's not for the house sake. Any compilation is for somebody else. So sanghata is that, compiled together, put together. This body also is compiled or not? It is for the body or it is for something else? It is for some other entity. And based on this body, this prana, this mind is all compiled together. This one Mr. So and so is there. The joy that it is experiencing is based on this. That's what it is said. Vikara sanghata samahitatvat. Anandamaya kosha is within these four layers of the koshas. Annamaya, pranamaya, manomaya, vijnanamaya. Within that. So all the modifications of these four koshas will affect the Anandamaya kosha also. But the self is not limited by any of these. Now all these. So what is the negation of Anandamaya kosha? Negation of Anandamaya kosha means any joy that I experience at the mind level, whether it is priya, moda, pramoda, or even the joy of samadhi, none of that is Atma. Which means detached from all of them. Then what will our life be, Swamiji? Very dull? No. Mind may experience priya, moda, pramoda. What do I have to say? Mind experiencing it. I am the different Atma. Then what will we experience? Infinite bliss we will experience. Right now I am running behind finite pleasure, and that is a cause of sorrow. I am not recognizing that at all. What Gautam Buddha said, no, I keep telling so many times. What is his famous line? About pain and pleasure. Do you remember? By now it should go into your head. Every pleasure is pain in disguise. Memorize it. Next time you eat Puran Poli ice cream, you say, this is pain in disguise. Then why should I eat? If you don't want to eat, leave it. If you have to eat by saying what? This is not Ananda Atma, this is Vishaya Sukha. And the Vishaya Sukha also is what? Pain in disguise, and it's a reflection of Atmananda only. Paramananda is one small glimpse of Paramananda. Do I want to run behind Paramananda, or do I want to run behind this small one infinitesimal part of this infinite bliss is this small Sukha. You know what Vedanta says? Upanishad says Brahmaji's bliss is one drop in the ocean of bliss of that Mahatma who realizes the self. Now that is the choice I have. So a negation of Anandamaya Kosha means to drop the craving for sense pleasures in the world outside. And in the seat of meditation to drop the joy of even samadhi, of single pointedness, of Bhagavad Bhakti. All that joy which arises also, not to condemn it or reject it, but to know that this is just the state of the mind only. This is Anandamaya Kosha. Atma is a Asanga Sakshi of this. But then how will we know, Swamiji, that when will we realize that? When you wake up from the dream, does anybody have to tell that now you have woken up? Nobody has to tell. When we drop the identification completely, we will realize, Arey, I am that pure consciousness. Nobody has to tell. Atma will realize itself because the nature of Atma is Swayam Jyoti. So when the withdrawal from Anatma is complete, Atma Chaitanya alone remains. That one will know. Because that is my nature. One knows oneself. Nobody has to tell that. So now this portion completes the second part of the whole course. From chapter 5 to chapter 16 is this portion. But one point important here, as we said earlier, negation and assertion has to happen simultaneously. Because otherwise what will happen? I am not the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Then who am I? Blank. It's very strange how people love blank. They just want blank. Swamiji, I experienced thoughtlessness, for a few seconds. It was so amazing. Why can't I remain in that state for long? That thoughtlessness is not amazing. The nature of Atma is amazing. Ultimate state is not a blank. That's why the assertion has to happen again and again that I am not the BMI, but I am Chaitanya Swarup Atma. So the, what we call, 6 verses of Nirvana Shatkam are given at the end of this. There is a summary of chapter 5 to chapter 15, the basic thought flow that you can go through. Because we have done all that in enough detail. You can go through that so that you know what thought flow has been covered. And then there are 6 verses. So I have given these talks on Nirvana Shatkam. They are already on the YouTube channel called Chinmay Shivam. When you have time, you want to go through, you can go through. In that, I think there is at the end of each talk, there is a small guided contemplation session also is there. So if you want to go through at your convenience, you can go through that. So now when we meet in the next class, we will start a new section. What it is, see in the next class. So Ganapati Atharva Shirsha Sahasravartan we have on 3rd. So please do come on 3rd morning, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. 2 hours, 50 people minimum, we will chant Ganapati Atharva Shirsha 21 times. And do Abhisheka with each time chanting. So anybody wants to be a chanter, wants to do Abhishek, either for 1 time, 7 times, or 21 times, or do Aarti, Prasad, anything, please contact Meghnaji. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.